Hello, Roomies. Welcome back.
Yes.
I'm Maria. This is Lindsay.
Yes.
And we are Roomies Review the Movies because we were college roommates. Lindsay majored in film, and I reviewed movies for like 20 years. But there are just some movies we've missed. So we're going to go back and, watch those movies that fell through the cracks.
Yep.
And
What we're here for.
yeah, it's what this, it's what's fun. So
Yep.
we're gonna do that. And this week, my pick for Lindsay to watch was 2020's Invisible Man. I did let Lindsay know it is, kind of a horror film. So
Yeah,
she
I
was
was prepared.
surprised.
Right.
Yeah. Don't want you to have to walk out,
Right.
anything like that. But it's a film I saw, like one of the last films I saw right before shutdown in 2020. And I really enjoyed it. It's there's not much about horror films that like scare me almost ever. But this one scared me. And I think because it's so real,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of things that he does have been done or are done, to women and other people all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of abusive relationships have these very same elements, so it feels very real.
Mm-hmm.
So the terror feels very real. And even just the way with how they begin the film in a very tense theme.
Yeah.
And it just drops you in. And I remember like being in the theater feeling like I was holding my breath,
Mm-hmm.
during that scene of her trying to get out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I just found out because I was, I made my little playlist of like behind the scenes or explaining the endings, all that kind of stuff. And I was looking at some of them, and the director had also done the movie Upgrade. I don't know if you saw Upgrade, but
Yeah, I did. Like it was like
the
it
man gets that
was
chip
a major.
implanted, and he's in a car wreck, and
Yeah,
he
they were like
loses
in
his,
a Tesla like car.
huh?
They
Yeah,
were
yeah, like a
okay.
smart car.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I did see parts
Yeah, I
of
like that movie.
I did see parts of that movie.
Oh, you gotta see the whole thing. But
Yeah. I was preoccupied.
damn right, I'm not gonna be all right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Preoccupied, I understand. So we may have, maybe some undivided attention next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Right.
But Adrian, who's one of the main characters in this film, he's in this film. He's like a big tech guy. He works in visual tech and stuff like that. He is an investor or either works for a creator or something like that. The same company that created the chip in Upgrade. So the
Uh,
director has tied these two worlds together.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Hmm. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I love that movie, and honestly, I'm a fan of Blumhouse. Like a lot of their films, they really are good.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Death Day 2, I like a lot. Like, but yeah, I find Blumhouse and like A24 and Focus Features.
Those are real good film houses. Like
Yeah,
you have to give it to them. They are really good. Yeah.
those are the ones where I'll be like, oh, okay, you've got my attention. Like,
Mm-hmm. Blumhouse definitely does that for
yeah,
me.
yeah, because Blumhouse also did, what was it, Get Out, and they did all Jordan Peele films, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I enjoy their stuff, even their non-Jordan Peele stuff, right?
Right.
Uh, but yeah, so it's a rather small movie. Like the cast is pretty small, which I think adds to the tension that's created in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But we have Elizabeth Moss playing Cecilia, Aldous Hodge, just absolutely gorgeous,
Man,
playing James Lanier.
you know,
He's a
it's
complete actor.
hard. It's really hard to focus when he's on film.
Oh my god! And those pants were fitting.
Dude, the
Mm.
shirts were too.
It's not even my birthday.
I know, right? But
Um,
yeah, as we digress. Right?
I love Aldous Hodge though. Like, I remember seeing him in Underground, the TV show that was on some time ago. I loved him there
I
too.
remember him from when he was Lynn's sister on Girlfriends.
Oh, I didn't see Girlfriends.
You didn't watch Girlfriends? Yes, he was Lynn's sister on Girlfriends, and he was Darwin in the pilot for the game.
I also did not see the game.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, the game was really good.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
Before it transferred over.
before it went to BET.
Yeah.
When it went to BET, it went downhill. However, when it went to Paramount Plus recently, when they rebooted it, it was super good. I'm so mad that they canceled it.
Oh my God, that's right. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He was?
He was. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's right. I'm just
Yeah.
looking at his credits now and I was like, oh yeah, remember. Yes, he was.
Yeah. Yeah. But he been around.
He's been around.
Yeah.
Apparently he's been working since 1993, which is 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 37. So
Yeah.
he was on Sesame Street to begin with.
Yeah. I do remember him saying that because I remember years ago he did a Breakfast Club interview.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was a pretty good interview. So
yeah. But yeah, he's been working. He was on Boston Public. He was on Charmed. Those were shows that I watched. But Half and Half, yeah, Girlfriends, Bones, Friday Night Lights, Supernatural. He works.
Yeah, consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's really great in it. We also have Elizabeth Moss, like I said before, who's been in a ton of stuff since she was a teen.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mad Men is like one of her most famous roles, but currently, of course, it's Handmaid's Tale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she was in Us too.
Yeah, she was in Us, which has gone it's gone way beyond the book. Like they finished, they're doing their own thing now. I don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I remember first seeing her in like a Tylenol commercial when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember that commercial, and then I saw her in Mad Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her character was really popular on Mad Men, and they brought back the commercial.
Did they?
They did.
That's
I was
funny.
like, I don't blame you.
Right, I definitely would have. You ain't got to spend no money on production and capitalize off the moment.
We already got a star, right?
Definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah. And we also have Storm Reed as Sid, who plays Aldis's daughter.
Yeah.
And
she's a great talent.
She is. She really is.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She did good.
She did. I really love their relationship, and like also it's kind of rare to just see a single black father with a daughter in movies. Mm-hmm. We also have Harriet Dyer, who plays Cecilia's sister Emily. Michael Gorman, who plays Adrian's brother and lawyer. And I was like, I know Michael's face. It seems, I feel like I've seen him before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's just got kind of like, I don't know, he looks a little bit like a villain to me.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not trustworthy. He doesn't have a trustworthy face at all.
Yeah, but apparently he was in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's where he's from. Yeah. There's been a few things, but most of these I have not seen or heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Except for One Piece, which I haven't watched yet. I hear it's good though.
I haven't even heard of it.
He just kind of reminds me of the guy who played the brother in Get Out.
Okay.
He just kind of puts me in the mind of that guy.
Yeah.
But they are two different people. So
right. Yeah. But I can see where you're going with that though.
Yeah. Yeah, but Invisible Man came out in February of 2020, right before lockdown.
Right.
So it probably couldn't get all the legs it should have deserved. But the budget was only $7 million.
Okay.
And they made 144.
Wow.
Crazy.
Right. I wonder where they make the bulk of the money. Because we went on lockdown at the end of March.
We went on lockdown on March 15th.
Was it March 15th?
It was March 15th. Well, that's when our office closed anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I think up here we was towards the end of March. But yeah, we're significantly smaller than you guys, so I can see y'all going home before us.
Oh well, I was at a totally different company then, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about like your city.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And honestly, the day before I walked into the office, like, hey, when are we gonna go home? Because this is getting crazy.
Yeah. Right. I was walking around with a mask on because I was just like, I'm high risk and y'all still got us in here. So I
Mm-mm.
was walking around looking crazy
I
before.
don't blame you.
And I had one of those masks that had like the funny cartoon smell.
Oh, cute. Hey.
And I just had it just cause I thought it was cute. So I didn't know we was gonna have to actually use them. But yeah.
So it looks like their top gross came from United Kingdom, I think.
Okay.
Well, yeah, their top gross came from United Kingdom, uh, after America. So in America it was 70 million, and then the UK was like 8.8.
Okay.
Mhm. So they made 70 million, 70.4 domestic, and then 74 million international.
And this was box office?
This is boxofficemojo.com.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, so they made just 51% more international versus domestic.
Yeah. Okay. But
Yeah,
that's a
they
whole lot domestic.
yeah, huh?
I said that's a whole lot domestic though.
Yeah, it's a pretty even split,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So they did damn good.
Yes, for
They made
70
money.
million.
Right. They
Mhm.
made money hand over fist with this movie.
That's wild. And like the thing about it is like I'm sure like the majority of that was spent on talent
Mm.
because
Yeah.
these are very talented and experienced actors.
Right. Right.
Uh,
And with the technology being so advanced now, all you had to do is just put them in a green suit
right.
and figure it out in post. Like it don't cost that much no more to do something like this.
Well, that was one of the attractions of him wanting to do this particular film because I don't know if you remember, but I think it was WB. They wanted to do like this dark universe with all like the classic monsters, like
Hmm.
so the Mummy, like with Tom Cruise in it.
Hmm.
That was gonna be like the first one that came out, and it just totally bombed.
Yeah.
And because they were gonna do Frankenstein, all the old movie monsters, and that bombed so bad they just didn't.
Yeah, which makes sense, but it would have been dope.
Maybe. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
be interested to see what they came up with because I'm like,
Hmm.
I was talking to my friends about this last night. Actually, I was like, "What's the difference between a mummy and a zombie?"
One is wrapped up, and one still got their funeral clothes on.
So they're both clothed. They're both back from the dead.
Hmm.
What's the difference? Nationality, location.
That both of those, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then also with mummies, I had to wonder, like, how would you be able to make that scary? So I would be interested to see like how they would do that, but
Hmm.
we won't be seeing that today.
Yeah.
So, he was able to get the Invisible Man because they were kind of like through with the whole Dark World project.
Hmm.
And then also, he sold them on the fact like I can make this movie for cheap
Right.
because
Right.
if we're gonna do Invisible, we like you said, we can put people in green suits or they could just not be there. You
Right.
know, so much of the horror takes place in your mind. So much of the
Right.
horror is like more kind of emotional and the
Mm.
just kind of like just being the kind of being on edge of it all. The adrenaline,
Right.
not
Right.
necessarily what you're seeing, but what you're creating within yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's one thing that I noticed. Being a student, doing a student film,
Mhm.
especially like in class, because when we did our student films, it was like people doing all types of genres, and so when you do horror, it's more scary when it's in your mind
Mhm.
and when it's implied than me showing you the monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this one guy, he did a horror movie, and that's pretty much what it was. It was in our mind, and yeah, it was effective.
Yeah.
So, but those elements and whatnot um can be very inexpensive.
Exactly.
And so
Inexpensive and effective.
yes, extremely effective. That's why like back when they used to do like A and B movies and stuff like that, the B movies that they would have before the feature film would normally be like horror movies because they were very inexpensive to make,
Mhm, mhm.
So
I wish they would do some more things because, like, and give me some more experimental, give me some more, original story. And even
yeah.
though this is based on, you know, several other films and then a book before that, it's different. It takes a different perspective, and
Mm,
it's a different telling of the story.
mm,
So it's original in that way, and then also it, takes a lot from what's going on culturally because was it Time's Up and
Me
all that stuff
too.
was really Me Too,
Mhm.
right? Was super super prevalent like in popular culture and media at the time.
Right.
Uh, so you also get that in there. You can also talk about a real issue, which they do here.
Hmm.
So you are able to bring more things into it and make it a fresh, more modern kind of
Hmm.
story. Because, like, I could totally see this happening in real life.
Right, right. And then again, you didn't have to show it either because we didn't
Mm,
see her get beat up. You know what I mean?
mm.
We didn't see her get abused or nothing like that. But the pure terror that she was exuding, that in itself made us be like, okay, she got to get up out of
For
here.
real. Like, just the scene where she's, like, walking to the mailbox for the first time. Like,
mm-hmm,
her posture, the way she's grabbing at the sleeves of her hoodie, like,
mm-hmm,
I was feeling the same way. I was like, "What? Like,
mm-hmm.
where are my sleeves?" Like, yeah, she did
Yeah,
an incredible
like that
job.
was a big deal.
Mhm,
Just her going
mhm.
to the mailbox was a huge
Yeah,
deal. But just
yeah.
the fact that she had it planned out, all that she had to do, and just to escape. And he had that place built like Fort Knox.
A fortress.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fortress, right? And just the setting is a really great like commentary on the film and like everything that's going through it. Like the setting of that house in particular,
Hmm.
this big house, but it's set up like a fortress. Yet there are all these windows, right? So you can see
Hmm.
through and everything, but it's not really a place of comfort.
Yeah, it's kind of like an illusion because yes, you have all these windows, you can see views. However, it's like an illusion because you have this fortress that's built around it. So it's
Mhm,
like, yeah, I can see, but I can't.
mhm. And she can't leave. She has to
Yeah,
sneak out.
yeah, you can't leave. Like it
Even
looks
the dog is
very optimistic.
terrified. Like,
Yeah, like it looks very optimistic, like, oh, I can see the views and blah blah blah. But
Mhm.
once you get out there, like it's not optimistic at all. Like that's when like reality sets in that you're kind of locked in.
You're trapped.
Yeah.
And, it's again, like, just going even back to the title of Invisible Man, like, who's the man that's invisible? Who's he
Mm-hmm.
invisible to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have Oliver Jackson Cohen playing Adrian Griffin, and Adrian is, again, this very famous, tech guy who works in, visual tech and is very rich and, he's very good looking and he's very, you know, famous and lauded and all that I mean, not admired, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, he's beating his wife,
Right.
amongst other things she does not mention.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, and that's invisible to everyone else.
Right.
She's the one who's invisible to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Even her sister doesn't always believe her,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so wild to me.
They have an interesting dynamic.
They seem estranged a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so his true man, the true man of himself is invisible to everyone but her.
Mm-hmm.
And he kills the man that everyone else knows to be this invisible man to continue to torture her,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. That's
we
a
have
whole another level.
right, a different, we got two invisible men basically,
Mm-hmm. Right.
physically, all that stuff. But I'm a fan of Oliver Jackson Cohen in particular.
Hmm.
He's very pretty, but also he's a very good actor.
Yeah.
He seems determined to play villains, which I feel like is a insult for me personally. I just want to see him in a romance once, you know. He's got
Just
the
one time.
stature for it. But he's really, really good at what he does. He
Hmm.
terrifies me when he plays a good show. Like he was in Emerald City,
Uh-huh.
which was a good show. It should not have been canceled. It was going somewhere really good too. Oh my god. He's in Haunting of Bly Manor, right? And in
Hmm.
that one he plays Peter Quint, who is the villain, and oh my god. But the thing is, it's he starts off as in a love story, and then you realize later he is a villain.
Okay.
And he's scary. He's like 6'4", and like he's got this Scottish accent and everything, and he looks very intimidating.
Right, right.
Um, that's he's been in Dracula. He was in Mr. Selfridge. A bunch of UK stuff because that's where he's from. But
Hmm.
yeah, he's a really good actor. I like what he does a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we start with Invisible Man, like we already said. We start in this very tense scene where Cecilia is trapped in this fortress of windows, and
Hmm.
she's trying to get away from Adrian. And so we don't know, but she's conducted this plan to do this. And it makes me think, like, what number plan is this?
Mm.
It's not the first one.
No, no, absolutely not. Like she tried to leave like a normal person and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she tried to plan. I'm sure that didn't work either. Like she had to do a whole lot of trial and error, and then she had to wait a while to even build his trust again because after trying to leave a couple of times, he don't trust her to stay. So
Mhm.
it took some time.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder, like, just what number plan it is.
Hmm.
Anyway, but so he's controlling, he's violent. He's got everything, super surveilled, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And she she's got her go bag ready and everything. She's creeping
Hmm.
away. She's actually got her own little camera to make sure she can see him. And he is
Hmm.
asleep. She's drugged him with the diazepam so that he would stay asleep. She's got to change of clothes. She's getting out of there until there's the dog.
Poor
And the
dog.
dog is like, I want to go
Right.
with
Like,
you.
help me.
So she's trying to get the dog's collar off because, of course, he has some kind of tracking collar. I think it was like also an anti-bark collar or something
I
on the
thought it was
dog.
electronic leash.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I have to go back and like freeze frame there. I was like, is that like
Mhm.
the electronic fence kind of thing? But it's like he has those
Yeah.
big concrete walls. Why would he do that?
He probably didn't want the dog like running all over the place.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Because he's so controlled. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Especially when that car alarm went off, when all the dog did was touch the car. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
touched it.
So
And I
like that
remember
means
when
that it's
that went off in the
hypersensitive.
theater, I was like, you
Right, right.
gotta run,
So
girl. You gotta go.
yeah, like yeah, that's what I took it as, is that it was like an electronic fence and like the dog couldn't just roam around like
Around the
normal.
house, is that what it is?
Hmm.
I was thinking it was maybe an anti-bark collar because I was like, how's the dog not barking at all?
Shit,
Even after the car alarm went off.
yeah, sure. The dog probably was scared too.
But like you're saying, she takes the collar off the dog. The dog just taps the car,
Hmm.
like, and it just goes off, and it's just the loudest thing you've ever heard. The sound design in this movie is really spectacular, and I would really suggest watching it with the captions on, because there are some things, if you don't have the volume way up, you're not gonna hear.
Okay.
Mm, yeah, because there's a couple of scenes where, she's getting the feeling that she's not alone, and
Mm,
she's kinda looking around, but in the captions, it says, there's some kind of sound. She's actually responding to a sound. But
mm.
you really wouldn't hear it unless you had it all the way up.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it kind of reminds me, in that aspect, of A Quiet Place.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah,
the vibes that I was getting from the
yeah.
jump. I was
'Cause
like, this is so quiet.
yes, 'cause
Yeah.
in A Quiet Place, you hold your breath, right? You trying to be
Hmm.
quiet, right?
Right, right. You forget to breathe.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
definitely the same feeling here.
Hmm.
Yeah. You can have that same level of tension from aliens from outer space as an abusive man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so she's running. She jumps over the wall, throws her bag over there. She accidentally drops her diazepam. And she's running because her sister's coming to pick her up. Her sister is a little bit down the road. I don't like her sister this whole movie. It's like, how are you not parked outside immediately? How when you because she also has a flashlight that's on. I was like,
Yeah.
how when you see that flashlight, do you not drive 60 miles an hour? Like
Yeah. I feel like it was that was part of the plan.
it was
Cause
well, maybe it mean so he wouldn't be alerted to it, but like
yeah.
the moment I see her flashlight, I'm there. Like, you know.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that, but it didn't seem abnormal to me because she had to turn
Well, not
and then do
necessarily
something with her
abnormal,
flashlight.
but like for me, I'm like, hurry up. You know?
Yeah,
It's part
right,
of the
right.
tension of the scene. You're like, hurry up, we gotta go. The car alarm is off. You see the lights coming on in the house, you know he knows.
Yeah, but she probably couldn't because of the fortress. She probably
I
couldn't see all that.
well, I'm sure. Oh well, yeah, exactly. She couldn't see all that. But you know,
Yeah.
you're feeling like, hurry up.
Right, right, right. Like,
Um,
yeah, the
yeah.
audience,
We're
her,
running out of time.
everybody. Yeah, like the anxiety was definitely on
Through
high.
the roof.
But
Yes.
I feel like that was part of the plan for her to be down the street, and then she flashed the like when she turned to her, she kind of did something with the flashlight,
Yeah.
and then that's when she came. So I'm
That's when she came, but I was like, hurry up.
right.
Like, why are we
Right.
going 15 miles an hour? Like, please.
I feel like the sister was still like kind of skeptical
She
about what was
was.
going on.
She
Yeah.
was. The whole time.
Like, yeah,
The
I'll
whole
come and get you, but it ain't this deep. Like,
But girl, we made this plan. It seems deep enough to her, so why don't you just act like it's deep enough you know what I'm saying?
right, right, right. Just take her word for it.
Right.
You know.
If she's that scared, just support her, basically.
Right.
But you know, it's women who are with men, it could be any man really, but even more so like a powerful man like this, people won't believe them. They'll be skeptical of them because what do you mean? He's such a great guy. He makes this really amazing tech. You know, he gives these incredible tech talks. He's also very rich and handsome. You're so lucky to be with him. You're
Mm.
saying he's doing all these things? I don't see it. He's really nice to me.
All the above. Yeah. He can be all those things and be a terror to me.
Absolutely. Abusers don't abuse everybody, otherwise they would be caught.
Right. Oh, I can't believe that that's him.
Right.
Like, he doesn't give off
He doesn't seem
a
that type.
abuser behavior.
Right, right. And then you have people who are like, I don't know anybody who's been abused.
You don't know that you know people that
Yes, you
abuse,
do.
right? You may not know.
If
Yeah.
you're one of those people who are like, I don't know anybody who's been abused, you might be the invisible man in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but she gets in the car and her sister's fucking talking and like not driving. And I'm just so irritated
Right.
every time.
Yeah,
I
that
was
pissed
like,
me
we can have this conversation on the go. Why are we in park?
right, right. Like, what is
And
going on? Are you okay? Girl, drive. Drive.
later,
Right. I'll
yeah,
explain it to you later. Just get me up out of here.
move. But we, of course, we know he's awake and everything. She doesn't know
Hmm.
that, but either way, I will still be moving, girl. We don't need to
Yeah.
sit there for nothing.
Right. Like, we're not about to have no full-fledged conversation right outside the fortress. No, we're
I'll
not doing
talk
that.
when we hit 60 miles an hour, but
Okay.
not before.
Right. Just get me up out of here. Like,
But as they're sitting in the car, Cece is facing her sister and her sister's facing her. And we see from behind Cece, we can see Adrian running down the hill at full speed. Running, running,
mhm.
running. He comes up to the car and he's like in the window and he busts through the window. Like, sir, what kind of monster are you?
Yeah. And that's the thing with the sister, because if you didn't believe it up to that point, you should have believed it right then.
At that moment.
Yeah.
And we are still not moving the
Right.
car. What is happening?
Right. Right. Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Oh my God. So but she gets her out, and she's now living with Aldous' character and his daughters. I'm just gonna be like Aldous and Storm. With
Right.
James and Sydney.
So I was confused on this relationship. Like, were they old college friends? Like,
I think so.
okay.
Yeah, that's
And
how
it
I
was
remember
just
it.
strictly platonic.
For those two at least.
Yeah.
I don't know about him
And
and her sister.
yeah, right. Yeah. And yeah, because I was just like, this is not
What's going
something that
on?
we normally see.
Yeah,
Like, I know it happens in real life, but this is
yeah,
not something we normally see.
yeah.
And then I thought it was weird that she was sharing a bed with the daughter.
But remember, she was sharing the bed with the daughter after she had seen the footsteps on the blanket. Well, actually, that
That was
was
in
later
the
that
room.
night. But before, she had already been scared that he
Yeah,
was
because she
alive.
was in that room with the couch. That's what I was thinking. I was just
Right.
like, that room, like she looks like she's been sleeping on that. At least the couch looks like it's been slept on.
So
And
that's why she was sleeping with her at the time. 'Cause she was
yeah,
just scared. And the Sid is like a really nice kid. So
but still, it's a
she would
kid.
probably be like, well, no, she's like, it's just emotional. Like she's not actual physical protection.
Right, but I'm just like, for me, I was just like, yeah, no, I don't like her sleeping in it. Because what's the kid gonna do? Get the mace like she did?
No, no, I think it's like, well, hey, she did have it. She was ready
Yeah.
to use it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but so she's staying with them, and she's still very shaken up naturally. She's stayed inside the house. She doesn't want anybody to know that she's there, because she doesn't want them to be in trouble or, get hurt or harmed by
Right.
Adrian. And so her sister comes by, and she's very upset that her sister's there. She's like, I told you not to come here, because she doesn't want Adrian to, find a way to them. And she's like,
Yeah.
well, no, I just came to tell you that Adrian is dead. Which, okay. All
She
right.
could have said that over the phone.
Over the phone.
Oh.
You could have called and had them turn on the TV or something.
Something.
Like, I don't really know why you had to physically come to do this.
Right. Like, we didn't
Okay.
have to say this in person.
Not really, no. Yeah.
No. But she let him right. She let the man right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a movie.
We have a movie,
Right.
and you can see Cecilia feeling relieved and kind of like stunned by the news,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't seem like she's like happy. It doesn't look like she feels a sense of freedom by
Yeah.
the
I
news.
felt like she was still skeptical
Right.
because she was just like suicide. Like that don't even make sense.
That he had killed himself.
Yeah.
She's like, no, there's one thing I know. He loves him some him.
Right.
Yeah.
She was just like and which I would have been the same way because I'm like suicide. That don't even make sense. Now, if he would have died like in a car wreck
An
or
overdose.
overdose,
Fell off that cliff he
something.
lives on.
Yeah, right. Something that would have made more sense. Then maybe she would have been less on alert or
Mhm.
less skeptical. But a suicide, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
wouldn't believe it.
she's like trying to go to the mailbox, and this dude's like running, like jogging and all
Mm-hmm.
black towards her. And honestly, I'm not sure that it's not Adrian, because he has the same kind of build almost
Mm-hmm.
as the
Yeah.
actor. But it terrifies her, so she goes back inside, which, fair.
Right. 1000%.
And so she's trying to feel, free after this news, and like they're cooking in the kitchen, like for breakfast and stuff, and we see things happening. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we see a knife fall off the table, and then we see, oh my God, that's where the knife came from. I just realized that
Oh, from yeah,
from the
from
restaurant scene because I'm like,
Mm,
they never give you knives like these in restaurants. Where did this knife come from? That's
right.
where it came from.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so
But
anyway,
this is my thing. So what? Like, did he put the knife in the suit?
he had to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the suit is really interesting looking because it's got like thousands of tiny cameras all around it, on it,
Yeah.
always refocusing,
Yeah. So,
to bend the light.
and how do those cameras make it invisible?
It bends the light and reflects whatever's around it.
Oh, how freaking cool is that? Okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, we see the knife like seemingly fall off the table, but again, we never hear it clatter or anything, right? So yeah, he had
Mhm.
it. And then we see whatever she was cooking on the stove, it's a gas stove, and the gas flame turns up to the very highest level to the point where the food starts to burn, catch on fire and burn. And they have to come put it out with an extinguisher. And it's just like, oh, that's weird. You know,
Mhm.
they go to see the lawyer who is Adrian's brother.
Mhm.
And he's reading him this letter that Adrian wrote, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's so I don't
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
I know things weren't perfect and da-da-da. Shut
Like
up.
you didn't have
Like,
to leave like that. Like
right.
so you're terrorizing her beyond the grave.
From beyond the grave.
Okay.
Leave me alone. Aren't you
Right.
dead? Like,
Right. Like
be
damn.
silent.
You just had to get the last word. All
Oh
right.
my god.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm required to read this. Shut up.
Yeah.
Who would find out?
Right. What he gonna do?
Is he in the room?
Right.
Why do you have to read this?
Right. So
For whom satisfaction?
right.
That
All
makes
the
sense.
above. All the
Mhm.
above. Yeah. But I'm glad her sister intervened. She was like, she don't have to listen to it. Like, what
Right,
are we
like,
doing?
so just email this bullshit because we ain't not like,
Right. Like
like,
ain't nobody about to do this.
no.
What is she getting? That's what we here for.
Right, and then the brother insinuates that she was only with him for the money, right?
Yet
Which is
she left
another
with
thing it's another thing you hear, like, people who survive DV get
mm.
accused of, that they just wanted something. That's why they're saying all this.
And that totally didn't make sense in this instance. Because how was she going to know that he was going to kill himself and
Right.
leave her
Leave
anything?
her anything.
You know?
Yeah, right.
So yeah. You just wanted to say something just to say something. Just a victim blame, you know?
Right. So, we find out she's getting $5 million to be paid out at $100,000 a month, which I was like, "Oh, that's incredible."
Yeah. I'm like, wish my ex would leave me
I
$5 million.
would leave the country.
Like,
But yeah,
dude. I'm like, why is she still here? Like, she has everything to leave.
but apparently there are stipulations to this inheritance,
Hmm.
which is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there it is. Oh,
Yeah, they have
I
stipulations.
didn't
Yeah.
know that. All right. So, but one of the stipulations that he mentions here is that she can't be arrested for crimes.
And that's so funny because it's not like she a criminal. Like, what are
She's an architect or a
right?
designer or something. Like what?
Like, what are you trying to say? Like, what's about to happen? Is this a precursor to what you think is about to happen? Like,
Right. It seems very odd. It's like,
yes,
okay.
it was extremely odd. Usually something like that is like a trust for like
Right.
kids or something like that, and then stipulation would be like, oh, we gotta go to college, oh well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, or
You
whatever.
can't
So
have drug. You're right. Can't. Right.
the stipulations part is normal,
Mhm.
but that stipulation, unless you're prone to being locked up, is
Mhm.
not normal. So
Yeah. It's like, okay.
yeah.
Like,
Like, all right, well, fine, sure. I agree to it. Give me my money.
yeah.
And then next thing you know, as soon as she walk out, here come police. Like that's a setup. Like who's stupid? That's a freaking setup, you know?
Mm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But she gets the money, um, And she also was like going to do a job interview, right? Because she wants to start her life. Adrian's dead. I got this money. I can go back to work. She's feeling braver. So she's, going to do it and everything. And goes to the interview. And it seems okay, maybe a little awkward, but it's a job interview. Probably her first interview in a long time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And she's got her materials with her, show her work. And I was kind of surprised it wasn't on a tablet, but whatever. Um, she opens the portfolio to show the work, and nothing is there. There's nothing there. It's all gone.
My thing was that you didn't realize how light the folder was.
Well, it looks like that portfolio was pretty thick, like very cushy, protective,
Yeah,
and it would have just been paper in there.
but when you do see the portfolio later, it's pretty thick, and those papers are big, so they're gonna have some weight to it, and you should be able to tell the difference between an empty folder and a non-empty.
Well, there could
So
be something else going on.
I personally would have, like, as a director, I would have put paper in there and would have just had it be blank pieces of paper to throw her off and make her think something was in there.
Well, there's something else going on
Well,
that
yeah.
might impair her judgment about how much things should weigh.
Well, that's true. That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's having this interview and she's like, I know I put these in here. I'm so sorry. And it's it's awkward, but the guy who's interviewing her seems pretty cool about it. He's like, you can send it to us later.
He was super chill.
Yeah, he was really chill about it. And he's like, well, kind of tell me more about you or whatever. And she's trying and she can't, and she just passes out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
And she passes out. And come to find out, she had been drugged with the diazepam.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew she had dropped the diazepam. So we have this scene of her in the shower, and she comes out of the shower, and the diazepam is back on her kitchen counter, on her bathroom counter. And like, how did it get there? And it's covered in bloody fingerprints.
Right.
So that's when she knew, because she also got a call from the hospital like, hey, we found all this diazepam in your system. That's what happened. Also, there's something we need to talk to you about when you go in the office. Because the sound kind of drowns out, right? At that point.
Right, right.
Because she's finding out that she's been drugged and everything, and she knows she dropped that bottle. That bottle is covered in bloody, fingerprints, and she knows, like, he's got to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way this thing.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, you're just traumatized and paranoid,
So my question is, because that part didn't 100% connect. Mm-hmm. So you knew you dropped the bottle when you left, right? Mm-hmm. So did you refill your prescription?
No, Adrian put it there.
Right. He put that bottle there. But as long as she's been gone, if she didn't refill her prescription, then it would have wore off by the time that she got.
Adrian's been in the house.
Right.
And he's drugging her.
Right. But she has to take the pill for him to drug her, right?
No, because she drugged him with diazepam.
Right.
And it was ground up in his water.
Right. Right. That's how she got it in him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's her prescription. She was taking it.
Yeah, it was her prescription. She was taking it. He overdosed her.
How did he overdose her?
Because she dropped the bottle.
She dropped the bottle when she left.
She dropped the bottle when she left. He found the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Put on the invisibility suit. Him and his brother.
Yeah.
He's been staying in the house or around the house where she is staying, and he's been drugging her, overdosing her with it.
How has he been overdosing her with it? If she
put it in her food or her water or whatever.
Okay, so he's grinding it up and putting it in food and shit like that, like how she did him.
Yes.
Okay, so she's thinking she's been off of the meds.
Right, because she didn't have it.
Okay. So he is overdosing her.
Yes.
Okay. See, that's where it wasn't connecting. And then, like, with the call, they said, because that's what really threw her off, because she hadn't been taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees the bottle. Okay, so that makes more sense. Because I was just like, okay, did she refill the prescription? Like, I don't understand.
No, no.
Okay, so, all right. We're here. We're on the same page.
That's fine. That's fine. So she's spooked, and that's where we get the scene where she and Stormy are sleeping, and or Sid, and and so they're sleeping, and we see the covers get pulled off of them, and they don't wake up, and which I'm like, how? But whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I would have woke up immediately.
Yeah. And then we see like a camera flash going off a couple times, like someone taking pictures with a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wakes up, like, because you hear that because there's a sound and there's also the flash. So she woke up to that
Mm-hmm.
and is like immediately on edge because she's been feeling like she's been hearing something or something or whatever. We even have that scene where she goes out into the porch. Well, that's later on, but you see the breath behind her and everything. So she's like been feeling like something is going on,
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of walks around to the end of the bed real slowly where the blankets are, and is like gonna pull them back on the bed, and she can't.
Yeah.
And you turn around and there's one foot like standing on the sheets. And then
Yeah.
there's another foot standing on the sheets.
Right.
And then the feet are walking closer to her.
Yeah. Yeah, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. Especially because, like, in real life, me, like a lot of people, live by themselves. And sometimes it can get way too quiet. You know? So I was just like they're playing on a fear that a lot of us have.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that makes it even that much more worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And also in this scene, as she wakes up, she gets a scare because there's like this like fashion dummy, and it's got like a little jacket and a hat on and stuff like that. For whatever reason, it's right at the end of the bed. Like, what? What is this room design?
Right.
But the stuff that it's wearing is actually an homage to a previous Invisible Man movie costume.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. And then later on, we see another homage to another Invisible Man costume where it's this guy who's like wrapped up all in bandages, but all you can see are his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, well, that's a cool little thing, little Easter egg there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so she sees this happening and she screams, and everybody wakes up, and Sid gets her pepper spray. She's
Right.
ready.
She's
Yeah.
ready.
Her dad runs in the room and everything. She's like, he's here. I saw his footprints were right there, whatever. And of course, like, they don't believe her.
Yeah.
Because how could you?
Right. Right.
Oh,
Which understandably so,
yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
There's so many instances in this movie where the movie would have been over for me. Like, I would have been gone. This movie over.
Lord.
I'm not dealing with this, especially when going back when the sister came to the house. I would have got a hotel room right then. Like, it would have been a wrap. So, but yeah.
See, you got to check in under a name in a hotel, use a credit card, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's the trail.
Yeah, this is true.
And with him being in tech,
yeah, he would have figured it out
immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But did he must not have known about James, like, at all.
What do you mean?
Because if that's her friend and they're real close, like they're portraying in this movie.
Oh, I see. He couldn't have known about James like that, I guess.
Yeah, because, like, if that was a safe space for her to go, then he couldn't have possibly known about James at all. That must have been a person that she kept close to the point where he wouldn't even know.
Or maybe she was hoping his status as a police
Would keep him away.
would yeah.
But with the whole her being mad that the sister came to the house because he might be following her, and that was the whole reason why she didn't go to her house because he knew where she stayed. You
Yeah, he
know,
didn't know where James stays.
right, right. That's kind of weird that he didn't know where James stayed. Hold on, just one moment.
James, we are live.
Sorry about that. I had to take that call. But anyway, so yeah.
Celia is left alone in the house, and she's trying to think of ways she can contact, basically, or find out or find, where Adrian is.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides to call his phone. So she does, and she hears it vibrating from the attic.
Yeah.
Right directly above her room.
Yeah. That would have scared the living hell
That
out
was
of
just
me.
the creepiest. Oh my god.
Right.
It's just like he's
Yeah.
been right there the whole time.
Right, the whole time, camped out, watching everything you
So
do.
she had bought a ladder for the family, kind of as a thank you gift, but also part of the gift was she was gonna give Sid money to go to school. So
Mm-hmm.
she takes the ladder and she goes to the attic, and it's very tense, very tense. And
Mm-hmm.
she's looking around at everything, and she finds his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute she finds the phone, there's a text message that says, "Surprise."
Yeah. When I tell you, I would have jumped out of my skin.
Oh my god.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, because she's got this knife with her too to like stab
Right.
at the air. Like, what are
Right. I'm telling you, I would have been walking around like this the whole time.
just yeah.
Right.
And in the attic, she finds like a can of paint because she's determined that she's alone up here because it's a pretty small attic.
Mm-hmm.
She finds a can of paint, and she knows he's nearby. Of course, he's got to be in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She opens the paint and dumps it down the ladder, and it reveals that he's there in one of
Mm-hmm.
his suits on the ladder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like it's like a jump scare, but it's
Mm-hmm.
so like I don't know.
It's so creepy.
Yes.
It's so creepy.
And to have
Yeah.
the jump scare be something that's already there and you're
Mm-hmm.
just revealing it. It didn't actually jump at you. It was just there,
Right, right. It's just there.
Yeah.
You know. That was oof, jeez.
That
When I
was so
saw
good.
that, yeah, when I saw that, I said I almost walked out the room. I
Did
was
you?
like, oh, I almost was out of here. I was like, oh, and I was like, let me stay. Oh goodness.
But she runs, the figure runs away. Cecilia gets out of the attic and is trying to, find this person in the suit. We hear the faucet in the kitchen go off, and we see that they've washed the paint off
Mm-hmm.
off them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, dang, did she get his eyes?
I
But
don't, but the suit goes over your
over the
entire,
eyes. Yeah.
yeah. So and then there's a fight with this invisible figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he ended up choking her.
Yes,
Yeah.
lifting her off the ground
Mm-hmm.
and holding her wrist at the same time.
Yeah, because
So I
she
was
had
like,
the
why
knife
is
in.
she not stabbing him? Because
Yeah.
she had a knife, and he's holding her wrist, and she eventually drops it. But yeah, they have a whole fight, and he flips the tables and everything. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. 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 It's wild to see because, like, she's fighting somebody, but to see it from the perspective of what she's seeing, it
Hmm.
makes it on a whole nother level wow, because it looks like she's fighting air,
Yeah,
you know?
absolute, just air.
Mm-hmm.
Just reaching for anything, and you can't tell where the next attack is going to be coming from, or
Right.
if you're even hitting them, or
Right. Right. Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, it plays on a whole nother fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she runs away. She gets this lift out, and the Lyft driver is not moving fast enough for
No.
me. He
No.
wants to have a conversation. Like,
Right.
he's
And that's
doing a
the part that,
3-point turn for some reason. I
right.
just
In this big old Tahoe. Like, if you don't drive, I don't care how you get out. Just get out. It's
He's like,
not
"Are you okay? Does she seem okay, bruh?"
right, right. Like, she's in duress. Get her up out of here. And
The first thing she
he's
said
just
was,
like,
"Lock the
hey,
doors, lock the doors," and he's like, "Huh?" I'm like,
right.
freaking doors.
Well, let me turn around.
Oh, that didn't work. Let me try it again. One more time. Oh my god.
So, how's life? If you don't
Ugh.
get me the hell up out of here.
Can I have a quiet
Like,
ride, please? Oh my god.
right.
But she takes it to Adrian's place. She takes the lift back to Adrian's place because she knows there's got to be some truth there. Something's got to be there, right?
Mhm.
She goes to investigate his lab, and she finds like the whole invisible bodysuit with the cameras and everything, which just confirms everything she's been thinking and lets her know how he's been getting around.
Mhm.
And the dog, unfortunately, is back there.
Yeah.
But the dog likes her because it lets her know when he's back home.
Mhm.
The dog starts barking, so she knows when to leave,
Yeah. Yeah.
or when to
Yeah, that
try
was a
to leave.
smart
When
dog.
to try to leave, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a smart dog.
Yeah, very smart dog.
Mhm.
Maybe, hopefully, it gets adopted.
Yeah, right. Right.
Hopefully, she'll go back for it.
Yeah, but that was my whole thing because I'm like, who been feeding the dog? Like, who been taking care of the dog? Like, if this was a murder scene, why didn't nobody take the dog?
There was a suicide. How's the dog still here?
Right,
Exactly who's feeding it?
right. So that's where my mind went. But
No, that's good.
yeah.
Hmm. So she steals the suit and hides it in the bedroom closet. And apparently, him or his brother is there, and she has to like kind of sneak around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they get her and they start fighting, whatever, and the dog comes through and barks back into the closet,
Mm-hmm.
and she's able to escape. And so she's running away, and she contacts her sister. She wants to tell her everything that's happening, and her sister is like, "I don't know why you're here. Da 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 da. After the
Yeah.
email you sent me, blah blah." And she's like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." She's like,
Yeah.
"I didn't send you an email." And then she's like, "Adrian must have done it." And her sister's like, "Ugh, Adrian's dead." Like,
Yeah.
just like she's so ready to believe that her sister would send her this email, which says things like, "I wish you had died instead of Adrian," and
Mm-hmm.
you're so smothering. Da, da, da. She's so ready to believe that instead of her sister, who's in her face right now. Like,
Yeah. And
I know
especially
it sounds crazy, but like, why? But also, why would her sister be that ugly to you?
Right. Like, where did this come from? It was like so unwarranted. Even if you're believing that Adrian's dead, why wouldn't you believe that if your sister was capable of saying those things to you, that she would say those things to you and not put them in an email? Like, you should know your sister enough to know that this is not indicative to her
Right.
actions.
Are
You
these
know what
things
I'm
she would say?
Right, right. So that's the part that didn't sit well with me, how she was reacting, because I'm like, 2 and 2 is not equaling 4 when
Mm-mm.
it comes to this. Like, you should know your sister.
Which
Yeah.
makes me think there's something else there. Like there's something
Yeah.
with their relationship is not right.
Yeah. Something definitely is not right. But even if something's not right, you should know that this doesn't sound like your sister. And when
Yeah,
you
you
got that
should
email,
know
why wouldn't
unless
you
you
have
are for
called her?
some reason mad and resentful of your sister for something.
And it could be all that. But if you get an email from your sister like that, why wouldn't you call her and be like, bitch, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least
Yeah,
that
because
would
she
have been
goes
me.
back to like look at her sent emails, and it was
Mhm.
like sent at like 5:43 a.m. or something.
Yeah, yeah. And, and that, I mean, that just, I don't know. I mean, I have sisters that we're not the best of friends, but I would think that they would know that I wouldn't send an email like that,
Like
you
that.
know?
Yeah, yeah. Which makes me wonder, like, what has gone on between them, like, for her
Right,
to believe that.
right, right. So, and then even if I were to get an email like that from a sister of mine, you're not just gonna have the last word with me, bitch. I'm calling you, like, or I'm coming to knock on your door. Like, we gonna
We gonna
hash this
settle this,
out. Right,
right?
right. Whether we got a box in the middle of the street or something like that, but you ain't about to send me no email like that. Like, so, like, no, I'm not waiting for you to
I'm
come
calling
to
you at
me.
5:44 a.m.
Right. Like, what is this? Like, yeah, no, yeah, that just didn't, that part didn't sit quite well with me.
But she convinces Emily to meet her at a restaurant later, where she can tell her everything.
Yeah.
And so they get to the restaurant. Their waiter is being really annoying, it seems.
He was being a waiter,
It's like, for
hey.
some reason, it was just like I was like, "Go away!"
And see, I thought the sister was being too rude. She was just
And
like,
maybe she was.
so we
Yeah.
order and then you bring the food. Like, bitch, like,
Yeah, no, that
I'm
was
trying to be
uncalled for.
nice.
Like,
Right. Like, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to get my tips. Now
and then
there,
she was like, "We've
like,
been here before." I was like, "Then why did you say that to him?"
right,
Just say, "Oh yeah, we've been here before."
right. Like all that was, she was just being unnecessarily rude. I know she got cussed out when he went back to the kitchen.
And that's what she
Right.
get.
Oh, ugly bitch. Like,
Oh goodness. But yeah, they're sitting and talking eventually, and Cece's about to tell her sister everything she's found out about the suits and all that stuff.
mhm.
Where we see the sister's face, like she sees something and she's kind of like looking behind her, and we see behind Cece is a big sharp steak knife, the one that was missing from the kitchen.
Mhm.
And it goes across and slits her sister's throat,
Mm.
and then her hand flies up and she is holding the knife.
Yeah. Yeah. And she just looking like that. Whew. Yeah, that was a
Because
lot.
she's like, what is even happening? Like,
Right. Right. Like, how am I holding this? I didn't do this. And my whole thing was, I'm like, why didn't they just run the tape? But then we wouldn't have a movie. So,
who knows if they had a tape? Who knows if it was at the certain angle? You know. And
mhm.
then there are all these witnesses who see her holding this knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
True. True. But I'm sure they had at least one camera.
Yeah,
But
probably on the door, you know.
probably. But like I said, we wouldn't have a movie, so
Exactly. We wouldn't have a movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So they you know, they she's on waiting trial. They have her remanded to a psychiatric hospital, where she finally learns what the clinic wanted to tell her in person is that she's pregnant, which is really shocking to her because she had been taking birth control and she thought Adrian didn't know, but Adrian knew. And he replaced her birth control with placebos
Mm-hmm.
because getting someone pregnant is uh, a very typical step for an abusive person because
Yeah.
then they have a tie to you for life
Right.
and they have another way to control you by
Mm-hmm.
threatening the child.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So, destroying birth control is a very common tactic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So, her being on trial and being arrested, now this $5 million is going away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. She went against one of the rules, one of the stipulations.
Mm-hmm. So she's arrested, being blamed for her sister's murder, is pregnant against her will, and now she has no money.
Mm-hmm. Right. And she's in a psych ward.
In a psych ward. She has nothing. But Tom is like, well, we can get the charges dropped. And he whispers to her, if you agree to return to him and raise the child as a family. So he knows his brother is alive.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's told her, I saw the body.
Right.
He's in this urn.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wonder, like, is the brother getting anything out of this personally, or is this just?
Oh, he has to be. He has to be.
Yeah, because he's just too far involved.
Yeah, because they established that, Adrian was also abusive with his brother, but he also has to be getting something out of this. And because also, like, the way he talks to Cecilia, sometimes it's like he hates her.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that be?
Right. Right. And it's just like, was she with him first? Like, like it's weird how much involved the brother is.
Mm-hmm. So he tells her that Adrian did tamper with her birth control pill, and she just refuses the offer. She's like, I'm not going to do that. She steals his fountain pen, and later that night, when she's back in her room, she goes in the shower, and she's saying, you'll never get me. You'll never get the baby. And she stabs her arm with the pen to, like, open her veins, and Adrian appears, because of course he's been there the whole time, and he's trying to stop her. And she's trying to attempt suicide, of course, because that was the only option she had left.
Right.
So she finds him when he's trying to stop her. She's like, "There you are," right? And she starts just stabbing him with the pen repeatedly, just repeatedly stabbing him with the pen. Which I was like, "Thank you," because like so many times in movies they'll stab somebody 2 times and like and run
And then
or
try to
something.
leave. Right.
No, keep going.
Right. You have to finish the job.
So this damages his suit a little bit. So there are times when he's visible. And I really love like the music in this scene. Like the villainous music is like so this dark synth. It's really cool. The music in the movie
they
is
use
really good.
music real good, right?
Yeah. Sound design again, music again is incredible in the movie. So and then also like during the scene before when she's talking with the brother, there's like a weather report on that's talking about the rain. And that comes into play as we see that like when Adrian's suit gets wet, you can see the suit. Which that's kind of how she sees him when she's in the shower, like trying to kill herself. When he pops up into the shower, she sees him and she can stab him.
Yeah.
So she's trying to stab him. He kicks her off. Guard comes into the room. Adrian kills him. She runs out, And then there's like this incredible hallway fight with Adrian being partially visible to some of the guards and not to others. And they
Mhm.
don't know what they're fighting or shooting, but they're telling her to get on the ground. Like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and they all just get murked.
Yeah.
They
He
just
took them
all.
all out.
Mhm.
He took them all out. And that one part when he shot that knee out, I was
I
like,
was like, you didn't have to
whoo.
do that. You see, you didn't have to do that. Like,
Right. I was
that
like, that's
was designed.
far.
Why?
Right. Now that was too far. Like you killed all them other people, fine. But to shoot the knee out, jeez Louise. But yeah.
I just want to permanently disable this one. Like, what?
Right. just, just knock him out and shoot his
Didn't
knee.
you just want to leave? Couldn't you just go?
Right. Like, when nobody gonna stop you. Like you didn't have to shoot the knee out.
You
Gosh.
didn't. You really didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she grabs one of the guards' guns, you know, and runs outside behind him, and you can see like the doors where he's leaving, like opening, closing, everything. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I just love this. It's so great.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's leaving, she's pointing the gun at the guards and everything, like, just stay there. Like, do not,
Mm-hmm.
and we get outside and the sound of the rain is like deafening almost.
Yeah.
Um, and she's looking around trying to find like where she could hide, see if she could see him, all that kind of thing. And it kind of almost the sound gets lower actually. So you can like hear her and hear the guards who are out in the parking lot, and like you're trying to see if you can see Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
She eventually gets away. She gets in this guy's car, uh, and she calls her friend because Adrian's told her he's gonna go after everyone she loves if she fights,
Yeah.
and indicates that he's gonna hurt Sid. So
Mm-hmm.
she calls him and lets him know, hey, you need to get home to Sid. Something's gonna happen. And we go and we're back at their house, and something is happening. And Sid wakes up and she gets that pepper spray and she sprays him.
Yeah. Got him. Got
Hmm.
him.
Hmm. And he's tumbling and fumbling and everything. And so she runs out of the room, but then he gets her and he's trying to choke her out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then her dad, is in there and he's trying to fight the guy, but he can't see anything.
Thank you.
And so
Yeah.
he just ends up beating the crap out of him.
Yeah. Right.
And
And me, I would have been like, I'm like, I would have tried to fight the
oh my
air.
goodness.
I would have had
Whatever I gotta do.
right, just something,
Gotta fight something.
right. I'm gonna hit something, shit.
you know. And Sid is screaming and crying, and it's pretty sad. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
scary.
Cause she's watching
Yeah, she's
her
like, please don't
dad
kill
get
my
beat up
dad.
by the air. Like
Right.
that's
You know.
that's horrible. But I mean, I would have tried to do something. So I don't know how effective it would have been, but I would have
I don't,
tried something.
like what do I do?
Right.
Like, but see, we have the luxury of planning our fights with invisible men.
Right.
They were surprised, right?
Right.
They didn't believe this existed.
Right. Even though they had heads up, and she kind of sort of was prepared with the pepper spray. I will give her that.
She was ready for anything with that pepper spray. Yeah.
Right. That pepper spray was on deck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But
then Cecilia gets there, and it's time for a fight.
yeah. Yep. Then the fire extinguisher comes back into play.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because she turns that on, and then we can finally see him, and she's able to shoot him, which is great.
Yeah.
And so
I'm so surprised that the suit wasn't bulletproof.
I'm not, because of the cameras on it. I don't know if you'd be able to do that with like also a Kevlar suit, and would you be able to really move around and all that?
True. And then again, we wouldn't have a movie.
That too.
So yeah,
So she shoots him, he goes down, she takes off the mask, and it's his brother.
his brother.
So
Yeah.
he and his brother have been wearing suits and doing all of these things. Because there are sometimes you're like, how is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
How is he also here? You
Yeah.
know, and it turns out it was him and his brother doing all of it,
Yeah.
planning his suicide, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I do wonder, like, why his brother agreed. Like, what was the deal?
Yes, like
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense for him to have this much of a vested interest.
Right.
You
To
know,
be willing to kill a child. Like, what?
basically, yeah.
What did you agree to for what? What did, you know?
Right, right. So, yeah, it's just
Was
like
he just horrible? I don't know. You know.
right, right. Or were you like, did she tell you about James in any capacity and made you jealous?
It probably wouldn't even matter
Yeah,
because, folks like that make up their own story.
true, true. So,
Reality is not the point.
right, they definitely don't live in reality.
No.
So,
But as this is happening, we also see like the police are raiding Adrian's home and they find him tied up in the closet.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
So why they find him tied up in the closet, that his brother held him prisoner. His brother was the one doing all these things, and
Yeah.
at the same time, Cecilia is telling Aldous' character James, this is what's going to happen. Like he's going to blame this on his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Because why else is his brother at our house?
Right, right.
Right?
Which all
Why
the
is
more
his
reason why would his brother sign up for some shit like that? You
like
know?
what was his reward? Like
Right. Yeah.
I do wonder.
Yeah. So.
Or
Mm-hmm.
or he had a secret on him or something. Because like,
Yeah. Or that was his
what was
plan
the
all
motivation?
along. Right. Maybe he was just very convincing that he told his brother that they would never get caught. It's seamless, but all the while he was 2 steps ahead, and we was like, just in case, I'm gonna make it look like my brother did this shit. You know what I mean?
Well, he
And
definitely
that his
set his
brother,
brother up. He definitely set his
yeah,
brother up for sure.
yeah,
But why would his brother agree to kill this child
right,
for what?
right. Just why would he agree to it in the first place? It's just
Exactly.
like, so,
I would
or
like to know.
maybe I don't know, child. I don't know. Maybe he was gonna give him like some money or some stock or something like that.
Because
I
it
don't
seems
know.
like a lot of risk for the person who's still alive.
Right,
Like,
and everybody knows he's still alive. Like,
right.
you know. Mm.
So they find him tied up. He blames Tom. They also conclude that, Tom killed Emily too because Tom was using the suit and everything. But, Cecilia's like, no, Adrian set Tom up. And she's saying this to James and basically telling James, like, you can't really protect me
Mm-hmm.
from this, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, even though you're supposed to be a police officer, you can't really protect me from this, which I was kind of glad they put in the movie because oftentimes police don't protect the victims of domestic violence from
Yeah.
anything,
Yes.
you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Despite him being like the best cop, and a
Yeah.
really well-intentioned guy, he can't.
He can't. Right. He, you know, that is so very true. That is so
Mhm.
very true, and it's unfortunate. You know,
Now,
because
most of the stories I
something
hear that the cops
drastic.
just won't or
Right.
don't care,
Right.
but even though he cares, he still can't.
Right. Right. Because even when you do have a vested interest, there's only so much you can do under the law. You know what I mean? So, like, you can get a restraining order, but something has to happen for you to even be granted a restraining order.
Right.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
reactionary. It's not
Yeah.
protective.
Right, exactly. And then, even with a restraining order, like you call the cops, and then they come, but you can be dead by the time they come, you know. And that's if you call the
That's
cops.
happened.
Yeah, countless times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like sure. Like the only thing that a restraining order can do is protect you from when you have to kill them. Like
Right.
I
Pretty
told
much.
you, you know, I told you
It's
it was gonna
official.
happen, right?
Right.
So,
But Cecilia really wants Adrian's confession, so she goes to his house and she's wearing a wire, and James is listening, a few blocks away. And she's like, I'll come back to you. We'll be a family, and everything, but I need you to confess and tell the truth about everything you've done.
mm-hmm,
And he denies her. She asks him like 2 or 3 times. And
mm-hmm,
each time he's like, I'm being as honest as you can. I don't want to start a lie either, but I've done this. This is the truth, whatever.
yeah.
And
And
then,
blatantly
oh,
obvious he's recording.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then all the time he's also love bombing her because
Oh,
he's acting like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. Like I just wanted to see you and I didn't know what you wanted to eat. So I got you your 3 favorite things and I'm just so nervous, whatever.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because that's what they do, you know.
Hmm.
So,
And he tells her, he's like, I'm the only one who knows you. Nobody knows you like I do.
mm-hmm,
Basically saying he knows she's recording.
mm-hmm, right,
She's like, she changed tactics. She gets teary, and she's like, I just overwhelmed and let me go clean up and everything. And so she goes to the bathroom and he's sitting there and he just looks dead inside.
mm-hmm,
Like no one is there.
yeah,
Like he's almost like he's turned off
mm-hmm,
because there's no one to perform for or something.
yeah,
Anyway, next thing we see, he's slitting his own throat.
mm-hmm,
And we also see it through the security camera.
mm-hmm,
And he's slitting his own throat on camera.
yeah,
You know. And then Cecilia comes running in screaming, She dials 911. He's hurt himself, all that stuff.
mm-hmm,
And he's still dying and she looks at him and she says, "Surprise."
right. So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and then James comes running in after.
Mhm. He comes running in after her and he's like shocked and he's like, "You never wanted his confession, did you?" She was like, "No, I wanted his confession. But just in case I didn't get it.
Right, right,
Here's this invisible suit in my bag."
right.
Now, what did it sound like he said, James? What did it look like? What did the camera see?
Mm-hmm.
There. Like,
Yeah. Now he looking at her like, you mother, you know.
right.
I was like, oh, she ain't shit either. Yeah. But hey,
Listen,
I get it. I get it.
what else could be done?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of is reminiscent of Enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like when you have to take matters into your own hands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see
yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, like we said, it was a very successful film for its budget.
mm-hmm.
Even with the pandemic that happened, it was very well received critically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Uh, but what do you say? What do you say about our rating system?
So our rating system. Oh, remind me later. So we have our movie reels, We have 1, movie reel being trash AF. 2, it exists. 3, entertaining. 4, great. 5, a true classic. So Maria, what say you?
I would give it a 4.
Same. I give it a 4 as well. It was a great movie. It was a great movie. They used the jumps the jump scares very appropriately. They didn't overdo it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they played on your psychological. They made it current. The reimagining was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like they definitely made it current, and it was a very it was very entertaining to watch.
Yes.
So yeah,
All of
definitely.
those reasons.
Yeah, definitely give it a 4. Um, yeah, yeah, definitely give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that was The Invisible Man,
Invisible
2020.
Man, 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know I said last time that this time we would do the Distinguished Gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
However,
However.
we're gonna hold off on the Distinguished Gentleman because I saw that Juice is on streaming, which is Tupac's first movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would love to hear your opinions about Juice. Juice,
Max.
it came out in '92. It is on Max.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah. The Distinguished Gentleman gonna have to wait because ain't no telling how long Juice will be available for streaming, and Distinguished Gentleman is gonna be there for forever. So
All right, all right. 1992. Wow.
yeah, yeah. Do you remember anything of 1992?
I do.
Yeah. The main thing that I remember in 1992 was as far as like film and TV is concerned, is that was the year that the Cosby Show ended, and that was the Jackson's American Dream miniseries came out.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. So it was a good year. It was a good year. So yeah. So I'll be excited for next time hearing your thoughts on Juice.
Yes.
Yep. So Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online many places. If I'm any place, I'll be there. Valar More Dollars. That's VALAR more dollars. I'm also on another podcast with some other lovely Black ladies where we talk nerdy, geeky, tech, pop culture things called Nerdgasm Noir. So you can find me there too. So where can they find you, Lindsay?
You can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELLE. And also on my other podcast, The Ish We Talk, with me and my cousin talking about various topics. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Yeah.
So,
How'd your live show go?
oh, it went good. That was actually the first day this season that it snowed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we fought that. So yeah, so we the turnout was good considering.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so other than that, it was good. It was good. But we did say going forward, we're not going to compete with the weather. We're gonna do this in the summer.
I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just like, wow, of all days. And then it wasn't supposed to stick and it ended up sticking.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So yeah. But
Definitely do summer shows for sure.
Yeah. So but that's Kansas City weather for you. So with it being streamed as well, people
Mm-hmm.
even though they bought tickets, they opted to watch. So
Yeah, that makes it. That mean, hey,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
They still want to show up.
Right. So yeah, but that's what happens in Kansas City.
Yeah,
The weather.
but that's why you have that streaming option. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's the funny part because we used to film together
Mm-hmm.
when we, especially when we did the first podcast, and then when we started this one, we started filming together, and then I set up for us to do streaming because of the weather, because
Uh-huh.
it was like -10 that day, and we was
Yeah, nobody wants to leave the house.
right, right. We was like, forget this.
Mhm.
We are doing this at home.
I
So
don't
yeah,
blame you.
right, right. So yeah. But yeah, it went well. And then yesterday we talked about, I don't know if you saw it because it's gone viral now, but there's a school here where a black girl and a white boy had a fight, and he was calling her all kinds of N-words, and he punched her in the face a few times, broke her nose.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So we talked about that. That was one of the things we talked about because they did a protest this past Thursday. They have a
Yeah.
list of demands, and I'm here for every one of those demands. But unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this is still going on because, contrary to what people may believe, Kansas City is very racist and is very segregated. So, and then I went to a predominantly white high school, and I had to deal with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you would think things would change over the
You would
years,
hope.
and that is not the case. So,
Yeah, I remember hearing that other kids saying, this kind of thing happened before in
yeah,
school, and they kind of sweep it under the rug all the
that's what they do.
time. Mhm.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They don't like the boy has um several people say stuff or report him. He had several different reports against him about him being racist and whatnot, and they never done nothing about it. So it was just a matter of time that this would happen.
Mm.
He only got suspended 3 days. She got suspended for 5, even though
Oh, wow.
yeah, even though he started it. Then he's not expelled, and on top of that, he went on Snapchat threatening to come back up to the school. Like, he didn't care that he was suspended. He was gonna come back up to the school and do this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, at this point, you're doing terrorist threats.
Right.
Like, it's already a hate crime. He got charged with a few felonies. They're class 4 felonies. And none of them were hate crimes. Like, he's not charged with anything in regards to race. And he's not charged with anything in regards to terrorist threats. So I don't know if he went back to the school or not, but y'all setting this up for a mass shooting, basically. So it's not cool. It's not
No,
cool going on.
not at
But
all.
am I surprised? No, unfortunately not. So yeah, and it's on the Kansas side.
On the Kansas side, okay.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
understand. I would feel the same.
yeah. But they said that they were going, and then they tried to discourage the students to not do the protest.
Yeah,
Yeah. But they did it anyway, and they said they were going to continue until all their demands are met. So
because it's a
more power.
protest.
Right, right. And they said it was going to get worse and worse until all the demands are met. And like I said, the list of demands are 100% something that they need to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's blatant.
Yeah, we should keep up with that, see how it goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The
I'll be
Kansas
checking
City
your Facebook.
Defender. Yeah, right. The Kansas City Defender on Instagram,
Mhm.
they are keeping up with it. They got several posts on it. That's where I got a lot of the info from. But the main post is what hit the blogs, hit the
Mhm.
blog, so it's gone viral now. So yeah, that's what's going on here, unfortunately.
Alright.
But we have done The Invisible Man on episode
Yeah.
43.
Yes.
Bring it back. So that is episode 43 of Roomies Review the Movies, and
Yeah.
we will see you guys on episode 44.
For juice.
Yes, for juice. Bye.
Bye.